Hey TCS TV viewers, Chris Nichols here again from the camera store, and as you can see, coming to you from New York again because Fuji has brought us out to play with the brand new Fuji X-T2. We promised you this video was coming after our quick preview sneak peek on the X-T2. Before we get started though, we need a micro HDMI cable and the right filter ring for our camera, so we're gonna go try to find a camera store and buy that stuff as soon as we can. All right guys, so we're about to hit the streets here and shoot. It is a stiflingly hot July afternoon here in New York City. The light's gonna be interesting, a little bit tricky today. Now, we already talked about the tech specs with our preview of the X-T2, so today I really wanna get across more of the experience of using and shooting this camera. It's still pre-production, but we're gonna shoot some photos on it, and I've got the battery grip on here. We're gonna play with that, of course, as well. Now, we are in New York, and that is thanks to Fuji, so I'm gonna bring Billy in right now. Come on in here, Billy.
ATSC viewers.
Yes, thank you, Billy.
Absolutely, love to have you guys in New York.
We appreciate that. We appreciated the 2 pints of beer and the organic burger as well. It was very, very good, as well as hotel rooms. But I'm still gonna be honest with this camera, and hopefully today Billy's gonna stay out of frame over there. Good, for the rest of our video. Let's get to it. Okay, so Billy, this, I mean, it says B&H. I don't think this is the place.
Yeah,
where...
I think the GPS is getting me to the right location.
All right, let's go find B&H.
All right.
All right guys, so we finally found the real B&H. We needed our micro HDMI cable and our stepping ring, so we've got it. We're ready to go shoot. It was quite an amazing experience in there. Let's get to the video. So, it's not really a complaint, it's not a huge deal, it's just this camera works so well with the battery grip. It's such an integral part of it to get the boost and the faster frame rates and so on and so forth. But I don't normally use a vertical grip on a camera. It's a little bit heavier than I like. It's not the end of the world, but you definitely notice it. It feels a lot like a classic film SLR. All right guys, so this screen, I mean, you got your standard flip screen here, and of course the big feature now is this will go vertical and pop out. And I mean, that does work for this one direction. I keep wanting to push this switch the wrong way. I gotta work on that. And when it's out, I keep wanting to bend it, and I feel like I'm gonna bust it. So I gotta be careful of that too. So I'm gonna get a vertical shot here, low to the ground, aiming up, but now my thumb covers the screen. And if I use the vertical grip like this, it's uncomfortable. I gotta crane my arm like that. As well, it's not a big deal for me, but for some people, it's a deal breaker. You won't be able to do selfie stuff if you want to vlog or anything like that, and this camera might be viable for that because the video features are so nice. All right guys, now I should mention that Jordan's shooting on the Sony a6300 today in 4K, and it's overheating like crazy. This heat is too much for it. It's packed it in constantly, so this is a good opportunity to switch over. He's gonna talk about video. I'm gonna shoot him here on the X-T2, and it's gonna work because even though it's hot, the X-T2 advertises way better heating control in 4K shooting.
And that's 10 minutes on the body and 30 minutes with the grip.
Thank you, Billy. Well, there you go.
Hey guys, I'm excited to talk about the X-T2 video because the X Pro 2 is a huge step in the right direction for Fuji. I still think they have the best image processing of anyone out there. We're using their Provia profile right now. We'll run through a few others while we're talking about this, but without playing too much with the image, you do get a really beautiful look to it. Now with the X-T2, they've added 4K recording to it in 24, 25, and 30 frames per second. And the big feature that we're not able to test today that I'm really looking forward to is the flog or F-log that's coming. So we're going to flog that. You know what? I'm not going to do those jokes today, but it is very exciting. But let's talk about what's going on in the X-T2 a little bit. All right, so now we're doing the Velvia profile. You can see a little bit more saturated, a little bit punchier. And we're recording externally right now. That's one really cool thing. We can kick out a 4K signal from the micro HDMI port.
422 8-bit.
Thank you, Billy. Yeah, so it's a 422 8-bit signal. We're recording to the Pixie 5 recorder right now. But what's really great is if you don't want to invest in all that stuff, it does record internally as well. We're getting 100...
To the SD card, 420.
Yes.
8-bit.
Yes, so it's less color information if you record internally. It does it right to the SD card on it, 100 megabits per second, which is the same data rate we're seeing on the GH4, A6300. It's really respectable. I'm looking forward to seeing how well these files are actually going to grade. So we're shooting in the Astia profile right now, which is their, hide your blemishes, a little more flattering profile, runs totally opposite of recording 4K, which will exacerbate all my physical imperfections, but it's a bit of a catch-22. Along with catch-22s, there are some things that have been bugging me a bit with the X-T2. For starters, the punch-in focus, it's not remappable at this point, and it is a little soft. Really reminds me of a Sony 6300, which has a very similar sensor. I mean, maybe there's a correlation there, but it is a little bit tough to make sure your focus is pin sharp like it is on a Panasonic GH4. On top of that, right now we don't have a histogram while you're rolling video, and that's not a big deal right now when we're shooting these punchier profiles like this, and I can always look through the viewfinder. It's very sharp, makes it easy to check my exposure, but once we get the vlog or F-log profile, that's where we're really going to need those histograms, because it's going to be tough to gauge the exposure just looking at it. I really hope we see that in a future update from Fuji. New York, classically beautiful city, so now we're shooting in the classic chrome profile. Hopefully looks a little bit vintagey. Now, one thing that I do think is kind of an essential add-on on top of an external recorder and monitor with this is the battery grip. Now, usually this is just extra battery life, and this does deliver that. You've actually got 3 batteries in it, 2 in the grip, and you can still keep 1 in the body, which really helps with record time. But on top of that, we get our headphone jack on here, so we can actually monitor our audio for the first time in a Fuji camera, and we've got a little 9-volt input. You can use that to charge, but also just run it off the wall socket without buying a separate AC power supply. Now, I do think this guy's important because our A6300 was conking out constantly, and we've been shooting here for about 25 minutes, maybe close to a half an hour, and we haven't had any overheating issues yet. If you shoot without it, you'll get that 10-minute record time. With, you can keep going with this guy. So if you're doing long takes, like this kind of interview stuff, get the grip, and you can keep recording for a nice long time. All right, now we're shooting in the Acros setting, and this is one of my favorite profiles, just a beautiful black and white color profile, which would take me quite a bit of time to build in post. Now, I know you all want to hear about image quality, and that's tough right now because this is still a pre-production camera, but there are definitely some things I can talk about. For starters, we're super sampling a portion of the image. Now, the advantage to that is I haven't seen any moire, any aliasing, and the video is very, very sharp coming off of this. Downside to that is there is an additional crop factor. We're looking at about a 1.7 crop, so you'll have to factor that in when you're choosing your lenses. Now, the big thing we want to look at is low light performance and this new F-log profile, and those aren't finalized yet. So that's why we're going to come back with a 3rd episode when we do get a production camera and take a look at that. But for the time being, I could really see using the X-T2 if I just want to shoot an episode and I don't have time to grade it, because the Provia, the Acros profiles are some of my favorite looks I've got in any camera. I can see this definitely being useful if you don't have the time or the experience to grade the video.
All right, folks, we're at a new location. Fuji's brought us out to the Classic Car Club in Manhattan. We've changed our clothes here, and I'm planning on stealing a Datsun 240Z in there because I love those cars so much. Now, we're gonna do some cool lighting setups, shoot some classic cars, some models, and for that, we're gonna need some lights, some flashes. That brings me to the next part here. Now, the X-T2, you'll notice, still does not have an internal flash. You get that little accessory flash, same as you get on the X-T1.
Chris, I got the brand new EXF X500 flash.
Thank you. Thank you, Billy. Thank you very much. All right. This is a pretty cool piece of kit here. We've got the brand new EFX 500, as you'll see, LED light if you want to do some video work. This does now have high-speed sync. Now, you're gonna get 250 the second maximum flash sync on this camera. With this, you can push it higher, and of course, it does now have an optical slave trigger. However, keep in mind, if you want a trigger, you've got to buy one of these as a master and one as a slave. So Fuji might have a new unit coming out in the future, but so far, you're gonna budget 2 of these. Now, one thing we tried on our preview video was the new viewfinder. It's supposed to be twice as bright, although it's the same resolution. Now, looking at it as well, we're also getting 100 frame per second frame rate. I'm not noticing much of a difference. I mean, I'll just go ahead and say that we're kind of past the issue of EVFs having any sort of lag or delay. It's basically looking through an optical viewfinder. Now, one thing I am finding too is the live view and autofocus is an improvement, and I have noticed that if I'm shooting continuous low speed at 5 frames per second, we're still getting less blackout time than an X-T1 at 3 frames per second. It really makes it a very, very usable functionality, just like the Sony A6300. Now, the 6300 does give us very little blackout, up to 8 frames per second. Even at 11, I'm noticing it's a little bit quicker, but then we're back to that delay where we're shooting right behind the action. But 5 frames per second, no problem at all. Great for wildlife and sports. Oh, it's raining, and I've never been so happy because it gives us a great break from the heat. Also lets us test the X-T2's weather sealing again. These cameras are very rugged, they're very capable, no issues whatsoever to worry about with the weather, and that's nice to have in a mirrorless camera today. All right, so we're outside here again just because we've got a lot of music inside, and of course we want to pay the licensing on that. But we had a chance to test the autofocus. Now I want to go ahead and say this first off. This is a pre-production camera. We have to keep that in mind. So we got to take this stuff with a grain of salt. We're just trying things as we can, but they're almost complete production. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to test this against the Sony a6300 that we have with us. And that's because that camera, up to this point, has been the fastest focusing mirrorless camera designed specifically for action, sports, journalism, that kind of stuff. So we did a side-by-side test with the Fuji X-T2. Now Fuji is pressing a lot on this advantage. They're saying this is the new camera, best autofocusing with a mirrorless camera, lots of hype. Now we played with it and this is what I found. First off, unlike the Sony, the Fuji does give you more customizability on controlling how the camera tracks subjects, does it ignore obstacles, how does it handle accelerating, decelerating objects, a lot like you'd find, for example, on a Canon 5D Mark III. The other thing I'm going to say that I found so far is the X-T2 requires you to set those properly based on the situation. You do have to do that. But when we test our autofocusing here, we got Billy to be a good sport and run very fast, which he actually does surprisingly quick for a man of his age. We were actually finding that we were getting great autofocus on the Fuji. I'd say it's very comparable to the Sony a6300. In some cases, it actually tracked better, and that might be because of that customizability. But I would say there are now two contenders for mirrorless cameras that can handle anything an SLR can handle for action and sports and journalism. So you think I would stop because the GT40 is such a classic, but I've actually stopped because these are Lowell Omni lights. I haven't seen these in forever. This is an ancient piece of technology, great in its day, just like the GT40. Both antiques and both here together. It's pretty amazing. All right, so we've headed out of the event a little bit early because we've still got some beautiful light that we want to capture, and we've now got two Fuji X-T2s. So Jordan's going to shoot this next part of the video on an X-T2. He's super happy to have headphones. He's going to shoot on the 1650. He's going to shoot in Provia just so we can get that nice color, and he's going to do it while the light levels get lower. So let's head out, see what we can get. All right, I know we already talked about autofocus, but I just want to illustrate what I'm talking about here with customizing our tracking sensitivity. So in this first series here of the cyclist going by, I've got it so it's going to track the cyclist and ignore any obstacles that come in front. You can see her does a beautiful job, pan past Jordan, pan past the signs and leaves, and it ignores it all. And now I've set it so that it will be very sensitive to changes, anything that gets in the way. And you can see here, it's going to very quickly lose its subject and focus very fast on the stuff that's in front of it. So you've got to set it the right way. Now when it comes to image quality in the X-T2, we can't really test it fully because this is still pre-production, but the X Pro 2 has the same sensor. It's a fairly well-known commodity. We know what's going to happen. Like the Sony a6300, which we will test this maybe against in the future, you want to have a lot of detail in the shadows. That's where you can really boost. That's the strength here. But otherwise, the X-T2's dynamic range, sharpness, and quality are basically the same as the other 24 megapixel sensors on the market. It's a very level playing field now. All right, so right now what we're doing is we're testing the autofocus here continuously in video. No obstructions really, and the light levels are quite low. You know, we were doing some testing. We're finding that continuous autofocus on this camera would sometimes delay or lag, but actually as it's gotten darker, we found it's been working pretty well. I don't know if it's working right now, but you guys can see at home, so judge for yourselves. We're in area autofocusing, and it should be tracking me well. Oh, I feel so dirty. How many videos is that where I didn't shoot a puddle? My streak is over, I guess. Oh well. All right, well, it's late, and that pretty much ends our night shooting, so we will be back tomorrow. We're gonna have a good night's sleep, and we're gonna wrap up our video, and then we're gonna head home. So until then, see you tomorrow morning. All right, so Billy, I'm letting you in the frame here now this time. So I really enjoyed the X-T2, guys, and I'm going to talk quite a bit about it, in our wrap up here, but the main thing that I want to get across, and the main thing that really makes this camera revolutionary now, is the better autofocusing. I frankly never really enjoyed Fuji autofocusing that much. The X-T1, I always had some issues with it. Sure, yeah, you do. But on this one, a vast improvement. Although, to be honest, at the start I had a hard time figuring it out. I got used to it, and now it is fantastic. This really does get the X-T2 into the territory of the Sony a6300, and it gets you guys to the territory of mirrorless cameras that can compete with SLRs in hard, fast, quick shooting situations. Now, you do have to learn how to set it right, and for that, that's why I got Billy here. Check out Billy's video, watch the tutorial on how you set these autofocusing modes. It's way more useful than I could possibly convey. So thank you very much. Now get out of my frame. All right. So of course autofocus is the big improvement, and I think Fuji's done a great job there, but this whole thing that we're talking about is more my impressions of shooting this camera. It feels a lot like an X-T1 with some minor handling changes, but they're good changes. I love the locking dials. That was a really nice touch. I like the bigger grip. And of course the battery grip is something I got to use today. That's going to be a big part of this camera. When I first heard about it and heard that you have to get it to unlock a lot of features, I thought that was kind of a marketing thing and that was kind of underhanded, but actually using it now, I don't feel that way. It really is an integral part of the camera. It gives you the option if you don't want it, but you gain so much using it, especially if you're going to go shoot wildlife, sports, journalism. X-T1s are still a great choice. They're not going anywhere if you want a similar camera and you don't need the fast autofocus, but this is clearly aimed at working professionals, enthusiasts, people shooting wildlife and sports and journalism. And if you need the fastest focusing mirrorless, it's either this or a Sony a6300. Now on that factor, we're probably going to look at those two cameras in depth together because they're really going after the same market. So keep watching. Maybe we'll have that coming up for you soon. Don't worry, this is still not a complete review on this camera, but overall, I feel that it worked well, it was comfortable, it was easy to use, and all the changes they made, even this flip-up screen that I had a problem with, I still really enjoyed using. Now, don't forget guys, check us out on Twitter, check out our Instagram feed, we got a lot of photos here from New York. Subscribe, comment on our channel, let us know what you think. Keep in mind that a full review on this is coming. But overall, my impressions of the Fuji, very, very nice to use. All right, guys, thanks very much. Next time we see you, be back home in Calgary.